the OTR Pop Quiz with Seth Moulton. You, as we mentioned, you're a veteran Marine. You served 4 tours as the Marine in Iraq. What is the name of Iraq's new Prime Minister, and what is his former profession? It's a two-parter.
Well, I don't remember his former profession, and I'm not sure I'm going to pronounce his name correctly, but it's al-Baidi.
Yeah, you're spot on. Haider al-Baidi is the name. Former engineer is the profession.
Okay.
President Obama is planning to send we were talking about this, another 475 U.S. military advisors to Iraq. Ballpark. This is just a ballpark question. How many military advisors or security personnel will he have then in Iraq?
I think it's around 750 to 1,000.
A little more, 1,575, almost 1,600.
Wow.
Question 5. In the U.S. House of Representatives, who breaks a tie in an unlikely tie vote?
I believe it's the vice president.
That would be no one.
Oh, is that right?
The bill dies. It's a trick question. The bill dies. The
tricked
Senate
me.
is the vice president. That's right.
You
So we said,
tricked me.
there you go.
Well, I got great news for you. The pop quiz is over.
It's always good news.
You were one of several primary election surprises this week. The establishment candidates with really strong union backing, like John Tierney, didn't really do that well. Do you think Massachusetts Democrats have turned the corner, or will this election prove to be the exception?
I think that we have turned the corner. I think that there's this yearning out there for new leadership, and that's what I've heard in the district, just when I talk to voters. And when you look at some of the candidates, like Maura Healey, that I'll be running with in November, there's this new energy out there, which I think is very exciting, both for the state and for the party.
And when you say new energy, are you saying, in other words, that perhaps the traditional union support won't be as effective as they have in the past here in Massachusetts when it comes to campaigns?
Look, I'm looking forward to working with our labor leaders, and I think that they will always have a role in our politics.
Let's talk about immigration. The president, the immigration is one of the biggest battles on Capitol Hill, and the president wants to wait until after the midterm elections to wrestle with it. Is that a wise move?
No, I think it's something that we need to deal with immediately.
Right.
I think it's a crisis in America. I think most Americans realize that, and it's a tough issue. I recognize that. But we as Democrats, we need to prove our value and prove why we should be elected by tackling the tough issues and showing that we can handle the problems.
So what do you think needs to be done, Seth Moulton, in your thought process?
I mean, look, there's no question we need comprehensive immigration reform. That means securing the border, but it also means securing a path to citizenship and ensuring that we have legal immigration, because that's always been...
But you're not talking amnesty, correct? Or are you? Are you talking amnesty?
I don't think it should be, no, it should not be complete amnesty, but there needs to be a path to citizenship. I think that's a principle that most people can agree on.
We were just talking about the 600 kids in Lynn. What about those kids in Lynn who are studying now? What happens to them?
Well, what we need to do in Lynn is ensure that if the local schools receive a mandate to provide their education, that we have some federal funding to support it. And that's what a lot of teachers are struggling with, is this variety of federal mandates to do this and do that, but no funding to actually support their work.
What about secured communities? A lot of communities like Somerville, for example, in Cambridge, are opting not to do what the federal government says they have to do, which means that if someone is arrested, they have to be able to let the federal ICE know about it, and if they have a record, they move on, but they're refusing to turn those names over. Do you think they're doing the right thing, or do you think communities should cooperate with secure communities?
Look, I think this is another example of why we need comprehensive immigration reform, because there's just not a consensus on what our policy should be in America. And this is an example of this kind of business that is not getting done because we have a Congress that is so gridlocked. And we're not going to fix that problem by sending career politicians back down to Washington, D.C.
But before we say thank you and goodbye, one word answer, because you are a voter in Massachusetts.
Yes.
The casino repeal question, yes or no? Should it be repealed, or should casinos continue forward?
Look, I think that I think the voters, look, I'm going to be one vote on this.
Right. What is Seth Moulton's vote on it?
My view is that casinos present some risks to the community, some long-term risks that are not necessarily captured in the short-term economic benefits.
So you're going to vote for repeal?
So you're going to vote for repeal?
I'm going to vote for repeal.
You also could have said, my vote is private. That's a perfectly legitimate answer.
Don't give him the out. What are you, come on.
All right, thanks to Democrat Seth Moulton, candidate for Congress in the 6th, for being on OTR this morning. A program note, Richard Tassay, the Republican candidate in the 6th, one of the men that Seth will be running against, will be our guest in 2 weeks. Coming up next, the race for governor, 2 people who have tried and lost in the past. How does Coakley Baker shape up?
You get knocked down, and both of them are getting right back up again and going to give it their best shot.